Stephen Thompson, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Pat, you're one of just a few coaches who have been at Pitt for 10 years. You're in your 10th season. Have you taken any time to reflect on your legacy and what you've been able to do for so long at Pitt?
Stephen, no, you don't take much time as a coach to look and see, what you did in the past. You're kind of looking forward. I think, we're looking forward to 2024. It's not one of those years we had a year ago that you're saying, what kind of legacy do I have? I mean, I think you build your legacy year by year, and, we'll take, each year one at a time. In 2024, we're looking forward to kind of bouncing back and getting where we need to be.
Coach, as a follow-up from the podium, what does accomplished greatness mean to you?
Accomplished greatness. Again, I got a lot of pride. Let's start with the Commissioner Phillips. I think he does an outstanding job. You talk about a leader of this conference, and so to me, it starts when you talk about greatness. It starts with your commissioner, and it trickles on down to your chancellors. We got an unbelievable chancellor in Joan Gable, to our ADs, Heather Like, and down to every coach in the conference. So it starts at the top. And, I've always said everybody's got to be going in the same direction, and Jim Phillips takes us in the right direction. So accomplishing greatness is really, trying to be the best you can be in everything you do, and that's kind of what we do at Pitt.
Coach, to your right side, third row.
Tyler Budge, CF Budge. Coach, could you describe what Cade Bell has brought to the table this offseason and how you've noticed the offense change?
Yeah, Tyler, I think it's a great question for the offensive players over here, Gavin and Nate. I think that's a great question, but I couldn't tell you, I don't know if there's been a season, going on season number 10, as Steven said. I can't tell you, I'm going to turn our offense loose. People wonder, as a defensive guy, do you put handcuffs? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. In 9 seasons, I've never put handcuffs on an offensive coordinator. Well, hey, you have to do this to do that. I let them go be them, and that's how I was coached. That's how Mark D'Antonio treated me when I was a defensive coordinator. He didn't micromanage. I don't ever micromanage what they call, when they call it. That's on them, and I couldn't be more excited for Cade Bell and the entire offensive staff to get that thing rolling here come September.
Coach, from the podium, if we could follow up on the hiring of Cade Bell, athletic directors talk about having administrators in their bottom drawer ready to call if the moment's right. How long have you known Cade? How long has he been on your radar screen?
It's a great question. He wasn't on my radar very long at all. This was one of those out-of-the-box ones. Really, after 2 years, what a real rivalry game is. I think you need to lose a rivalry game to understand what it means to you. These guys might be able to, talk about that a little bit, but I think you have to lose one to know, okay, don't ever want to lose a rivalry game again. And I think that's kind of what we go into this game with in 24.
Coach, still on the left side, third row.
Cam Lemon, Can Digest. Just piggybacking off that, you get the West Virginia game back, but then you also host California and then have to go to Dallas. Is that kind of it all-encompassing of what college football and college sports is right now, that you still kind of get your little bit of rivalry, but then now you have to go halfway across the country? Yeah,
Cal, Stanford, and SMU are obviously in the ACC. So to me, I don't look like it's some foreign game. We've embraced that. We're excited to have them in the conference. And, our kids honestly are excited to go travel to Dallas and eventually travel to California to go play. I've done that everywhere. So you can look at it as a non-conference game. I mean, it's nothing, that's unusual in college football. It's just, whether it would be a non-conference game or a new conference as far as how things are moving around in the conference exchanges. So I think it's something that we embrace.
Coach, from the podium, over the past 5 seasons, Pitt has collected a combined 230 quarterback sacks. That's the highest total in the nation. A lot of variables that go into that. What's the coaching? What's the scheme? What makes you so good?
It's amazing after 3 years that we lead the country in sacks, because we were just awful last year, weren't we, Donovan? Yes. Because we didn't get any sacks. I think there's a couple things going to. I think when you have an explosive offense, I think when you're scoring points on offense, that helps, because an opposing offense has to come against you and they have to throw the ball a little bit more. So our guys found out, I think, the hard way last year, when you don't stop the run, And they can be two-dimensional. They can run it and pass it, and you don't know which one they're going to do. You'll struggle. So, I mean, if you looked at it like last year, we didn't have that many sacks. Previous 2 years, we were probably pretty darn good, and probably in the top 3 in the country in sacks. But that goes with playing complementary offense and defense together, I think, and obviously special teams. So we're looking to increase that sack total. I don't care who's returning on defense or offense. It doesn't matter. I think we do a great job schematically. Randy Bates is our defense coordinator. We lost one defense coach to the Indianapolis Colts, and Tim Dowse replaces him. And we're excited about, the little bit of newness on defense and getting after quarterbacks.
To your left, last seat in the second row.
I'm Katrina Stackham for Sports and Culture Media. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great.
You've had 9 defensive backs drafted since 2018 and one at least every year for the last 6 years. Why have these guys been so special, and do you see this trend continuing?
Yes, I see the trend continuing. We got another one sitting up here in front of you today that'll have his opportunity to have his name called in next year's draft. Again, like I was asked about the sacks and some of the successes we've had on defense, it comes down to how we play, how aggressive we play. We're going to press our corners. Our safeties are going to be aggressive in the run game and the pass game, and we're in your face. We're in your face. I mean, we're not giving you free access. So I think that gives our kids an opportunity to learn what they need to do when they go to the next level. When you go to the NFL, you better be able to play press corners. Okay, you better be able to play man coverage. And I think we're not afraid to go up there and do that. And I think a lot of teams, and again, people have started to press a little bit more, the last few years it seems, but we're not afraid. When our guys get to the NFL, not only are they getting drafted, they're having success, whether they're 6th round or 7th round. Damari Mathis, who just communicating with yesterday, start with the Denver Broncos. It's like, how do you do that? He's a 6th rounder. They're not supposed to, but he gets into those situations in an NFL pro camp or mini camp, whatever it may be, and he doesn't get nervous when he lines up against a receiver in the NFL, and he has to press him. And it's the same thing for our safeties. They're not afraid to play man coverage with 4-man rush. They embrace that as well, and I think that's what makes our guys. They are trained to play coverage, and they're really smart. Like MJ Devonshire, who's out with the Raiders, from what I've heard, they love him out there right now because he's so smart. So whether you're fast, you're strong, intelligence is incredibly important in the game of football, and he's going to do a great job there because he can run it all and he knows it all. He's been trained for a few years.
Coach, your last question to your right, gentleman seated right in front of the camera, right on the edge of the aisle there.
Got him.
Coach, Ralph Amsden, College Football Apostles. I had a couple of recruiting questions for you, if that's okay. First, you got 4 players on the roster from California, but Stanford and Cal joining the ACC. Does that open up the left coast a little bit more for you?
It does. It's a legitimate question there. We actually jumped into Texas. It's a little bit closer. So with the state of California, we've got a couple players from there. We're always, if there's a Pitt connection, we're going to go attack a guy out in California, but that's a long way from home. I think it's hard. But we have jumped down into Texas just with SMU coming into the conference. This is a new place that we're, again, we got a, Austin, Texas native and Nate Yarnell here as well. He was a COVID recruit, so I didn't get down to his home visit down in Austin. But we have really sunk our teeth into the state of Texas right now because of SMU, but we haven't really done that in California. My philosophy recruiting-wise is to keep your areas a little bit small. I mean, we can say we nationally recruit. We're going to, we got a kid from Indiana. We haven't had a kid in Indiana since I've been here. So we're going to go find the best players, but there better be a connection. And if I spread our 10 assistant coaches too thin, they're going to go into a state and they're going to hit a few schools and then they're going to leave to go to the next state. I want to make sure I dot the I's and cross the T's in every state. And I think that's why, in the last 3 years, we've had more guys drafted, I think, than anybody else in the ACC because we're getting the right guys and we're not missing. And I think that's the important thing. You can spread your net really wide and then make a lot of mistakes and be driving by really good players to get to this other player that you thought was good that's not very good.
Coach, thank you. You can switch places with Gavin.
Thank you. Hail to Pitt.
Gavin Bartholomew will be with us for a few minutes. If you've already asked a question, please reintroduce yourselves to our student athletes so that they can have it in context. And as we get Gavin settled, our first question will come, Gavin, to your right, 3rd row. We're going to squeeze down and get the microphone to that gentleman right there.
Tyler Budge, CF Budge. As the request of your coach, I have to ask you about what Cade Bell has done for this offense this season, and also what has the inclusion of Jake Overman done for your tight end room as well?
Yeah, no, Coach Bell, he brought a new energy. He's been great ever since he got here. Teaching us the offense, getting around the guys, just really building a relationship with all the team. And as far as Jake Overman, he's been doing a great job. Having a wingman like him coming from Oregon State, it's been great. He's just going to continue to get better during camp, and I can't wait to watch his growth.
Gavin, to your left, third row, gentleman in the blue shirt.
Gavin, Stephen Thompson, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. When we talked to you during the spring, you and some of your teammates talked about how 3-9 is unacceptable. It's not something that you're gonna take on in this year. How have you seen your teammates kind of live that and try to live up to that? Yeah, no, absolutely. Like Coach said, we've been having player-led practices kind of during the summer 3 times a week. So, we've really embodied that. And we're trying to be better than 3-9 because we know that's not acceptable, and we know that's not Pitt football.
Gavin, from the podium, what did you learn about yourself during your late season last year, especially with the injury? Not being able to finish the season is tough on anyone. I really learned a lot about myself, how much I really care about this program. I was on the sidelines not being able to help my brothers, but, I was still there mentally, supporting them on the field, cheering them on. Just doing whatever I can do to help the team win. From the room, next question for Gavin. Gavin, I'll take it again from the podium. There's a lot that happens after the catch. You certainly are proficient in grabbing the ball, but then there's a lot of extra that happens after you make the catch. Where does that preparation, how is it that you get ready for the hit, the run, the movement down the field after you have the ball? Really just from practice, getting reps. The reason why we practice is so the games feel like practice. It's nothing more than just a practice on Saturdays. I'm just doing my job, doing my one-of-one, and, I can count on my teammates to do their job. Thank you. Next question for Gavin from the room. We still have about 2.5 minutes with our student athlete here. Gavin, we'll put you on the spot. Describe your head coach in one word. Oh, I got to be careful. I'd say trustworthy. Me and Dudes, we've come a long way. Coming out of high school, I only had one Power 5 offer, and it was, from Pitt. So, for him to take a chance on me and, just put me in a position where I am today, it's amazing. As well done. You're off the hot seat. You can trade spots with Donovan. We'll spend a little bit of time with Donovan McMillon. We will not ask Donovan the same question about his head coach. Again, if you have a question for our student athlete, please reintroduce yourself as we will do. Donovan, third row, left side, blue shirt.
Donovan, Stephen Thompson, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Donovan, how do you follow up a season where you had 100 tackles? You were one of the first Pitt guys to do that in a while. What's kind of the next step for you?
I would say the next step is just going 1-0 at the end of the day. I don't really think about stats when it comes to it. I'm just trying to do my one-on-one for the team and, make plays as it comes. Like I said, to win is the only thing I want to do.
Donovan, as a follow-up to that from the podium, 105 tackles last season. How is it that you're able to track on the ball so well?
I think that all comes back from my wrestling background. I don't know if many people know, but I played second in the state of Pennsylvania my junior season, and wrestled about 14, 15 years of my life. So that all comes down from the angles, the technique of tackling comes back from wrestling. And, just having 3 younger brothers at home, Darius, Dane, and Davin, that, attack me and 3v1 me, and sometimes they get me, sometimes I get them. So it all comes down to all that. Yeah.
Is that where you learned to wrestle?
Yeah, I learned to wrestle from, a plethora of people in my family to great coaches, and that was definitely my best sport for a while. So.
To your left against the wall, gentleman with the light ring.
Rob Johnson, Legacy Maker Sports Network. The stamina that comes with wrestling, how does that help you with football? And also, have you got any advice from some of the great defensive players from the past that went to Pittsburgh?
So I'll start with the stamina one. Stamina, I would say there's no shape like wrestling shape at the end of the day. Obviously, I'm not in wrestling shape anymore, but the mentality behind it keeps me going at the end of the day. We're having a 12, 11 play drive, and you have to run to the post for the 4th time in a row, and you just have to have that grit and the mentality to keep pushing forward at the end of the day. And when it comes to defensive backs, I've talked to the 3s that were before me, DeMar Hamlin, Jordan Whitehead, and they say nothing but the best for me, and they say keep going at the end of the day. So,
Donovan, we will go gentleman right in front of the camera, sitting to the right on the edge of the aisle.
Donovan, Ralph Amsden, College Football Apostles. I was curious. You went home. You were at Florida. You went home. You're playing in front of friends and family. I'm sure you were very heavily recruited by this coaching staff out of high school. What was it like to kind of open up your options and think about going back to where it all started?
So, quick story. I hit the portal, and there's a 2-day period of time where coaches can't hit you up. And I think it was 9 or 10 a.m. whenever the portal opens up after your 2 days of entering. And Coach Corey Sanders was the first one to call me. And then 2 days later, Coach Dews and Sanders were in my apartment in Gainesville. So they really opened up my ideas, my idea to coming home and being a hometown hero. There was the talk behind the defense and the scheme just got me really excited, especially with the stat of how many defensive backs have made it to the league since 2018. There was all things that I had my eyes open for, and ended up being a great plan. And so far, it's going well.
Donovan, with that, you are only 24 miles from home in McMurray. How big is your guest list? How many tickets are you trying to get from teammates on a weekly basis?
Oh, yeah, you can ask Gavin and Nate. I'm going through and asking every single person, yo, can I get a ticket here? Can I get a ticket there? I've had up to 24 tickets for a game, and that's not including half the family that came. So there's nothing better than having that experience. In Florida, I had my parents being able to come to maybe 2-3 games a year. But now they get to come to every single game, and it's just a breathtaking experience for my friends and family that I grew up with to be able to come watch me play every Saturday.
Any other questions from the room for Donovan? Donovan, we'll go right side. Gentleman in the white shirt, 3rd row.
Hi, Donovan. TJ Wilkerson, 90.9 The Light. I'm curious, what is it about the game of football that you love so much? When you go out onto the field, what excites you the most?
Oh, that's a good question right there. We'll start with how I used to get made fun of for saying I eat, breathe, sleep football. They're like, oh, Donovan, what, you're doing this, you're doing that. No, I absolutely love the game. I don't even know how to explain how much I love it. I have my dad, my role model I look up to, as he was going through, and we were watching football games ever since I can remember. That I always laugh and joke with people is like, I never watch a game in real time. Everyone's texting me, oh, did you see the interception? No, I'm about 4 plays behind because hey, look at this defense they're running right there. What is opening the tight end up in the flat, and him and his defensive line, don't get me started. The gap scheme is the best thing he likes to talk about. But at the end of the day, I just grew up loving the sport, and that's the only thing I love to do.
Donovan, thank you. You can switch places with Nate. And we will spend a few minutes with Nate before Pitt moves on through the rest of their morning. Once again, we'll ask our student athletes to be reintroduced by you. We will start, Nate, 1st row to your right. Gentleman in the 3rd seat.
First off, how are you doing today, Nate?
How am I doing? I'm doing great. Fantastic.
Jalen Wilson of CFB Nation. In the past, Coach Narduzzi mentioned how the other quarterbacks in the quarterback room have challenged you in the offseason. I wanted to know how has them challenging you helped you become better as a player and a leader?
I'm a big believer in competition is important in order to be the best, best player, best person you can be. That room right now, Eli, even Christian who left in the spring, both those guys have really pushed me. Those younger guys are really working hard, and so seeing that, I know I got to lead by example and make sure that room is, playing at the highest level they can. So I'm really excited about those guys, and I love being in that room with everybody in there.
Nate, we're going to go left side, red dress.
Mayor Duntremont, the Players Lounge, how are you today?
Doing great.
So earlier, Commissioner Jim Phillips deemed the ACC conference the conference of the quarterbacks. How do you aim to meet that expectation in your own personal gameplay this season?
You know, my expectations for the season is to make sure I listen to Coach Bell and make sure that I'm operating the offense best I can. You know, I've been really blessed to be around, Kenny Pickett my freshman year and see what a great Pitt quarterback looks like. I know ACC has a long tradition of great quarterbacks, and I'm just going to do my best to make sure Pitt wins football games this year.
Nate, to your right, third row, white shirt.
Hey, Nate. TJ Wilkerson from 90.9 The Light. Going back to the Cade Bell questions. Cade Bell, he took a Western Carolina program, transformed it into an amazing offense, especially on the passing game. So what have you seen from him starting from the spring that you think is going to transform this offense and your game style?
The biggest thing Coach Bell brings to our offense is standard. From the first day he walked in, I knew we were going to be good. Just because he expects us to be perfect. He walks in, everybody's sitting up, everybody's paying attention in the meeting room. Everybody, you don't know your plays, you're out. Next guy's coming in, and that's what that standard, that expectation is what a team needs to be great. And I'm really excited about everything he's doing offensively. Obviously, we're going to play fast, and that's something I'm really excited about. Something I've done in the past in high school. So I'm really looking forward to playing for him this year.
Nate, we're going to go back left side, third row.
Nate, Stephen Thompson, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. What's got to happen for the guy down here, Gavin, to get the ball a little bit more this year?
I know definitely some people want to make sure he gets the ball, and I'm on that team. I'm on the team. Get Gavin the ball. I think he can make plays with it. I think he can. Like you said, the question earlier with the podium. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's going to get yards, and that's important. And so I'm definitely going to feed him. Got a great relationship. He was my roommate freshman year, and excited to see what he does this year.
Nate, from the podium, you've got three brothers. I would imagine sibling rivalry was a thing in your house, yes?
We were spread out. We were pretty spread out, so not a lot of sibling rivalry. My older brother, someone I definitely look up to. He's a F-35 pilot. I just, seeing him growing up and all the great things he was doing, I always wanted to, live up to that. And now my two younger brothers, they're, getting into football and getting serious about it. So, love my brothers.
Other questions for our quarterback? Nate, we're going to go right side. We'll go back to the gentleman seated just in front of the camera.
Hi, Nate. Ralph Amsden, College Football Apostles. I was just curious where you get your patience from, because for the last full season as a quarterback, you're probably a junior in high school. Here you are several years later. You got a really, really big opportunity in front of you. You waited a long time for it. What's been going through your mind, and who's been helping you along the way to stay focused on the task at hand?
My patience comes from how much I love Pittsburgh, to be honest with you. How much I respect Coach Narduzzi, how much I love my teammates. I wanted to play at Pitt. I really did, from my freshman year on. And I didn't want to give that up. I didn't want to transfer. I didn't want to go somewhere else. I wanted to play here. I wanted to win here. So that's where my patience comes from. I want to get back to the city, what it's given to me, and I'm really excited about doing that this year.
Any other questions for Nate? Seeing none, Pitt, good luck this year. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Folks, Virginia Tech is due up in the room at 11 o'clock.